IPMNation.com.
Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is not a drill.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Good evening, and welcome back. Belated Merry Christmas. If I didn't get a hold of you yesterday, I hope you and your family, and as I said in a quick little video, your friends, your enemies, hope you had a very Merry Christmas. And let me see, what am I going to do to get back in that groove of everything here? I got to tell you. So we go like this, and then we go like this, and then we go like this. There we go. Belated Merry Christmas. Once again, thank you for stopping by and hanging out, for joining me for the 389th episode of the number one rate. A little bit of technical difficulty earlier, but let me do this. The gong heard round the world. I do love the song of that gong. Broadcast as it happens. Thanks to our good friends at Telestream's Wirecast, but broadcast as it happens. Live from the Transitional Radio Uplink. That's right, that's what I'm supposed to say. The Transitional Radio Uplink from Columbus, Ohio. Actually a suburb, beautiful Columbus, Ohio. Directly to IPMNation.com and multicast live on Facebook, over on allnaturalbeing.com, and in our Brian Brawdy app as well. Please remember, if you're so inclined, if you have friends that, maybe friends that are like, oh, I'd like to give that a shot, we have our little soiree rebroadcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, now Spotify. Thank you for that. YouTube, all the other usual suspects. Twitter, for now. We're still working on figuring out how that's going to read out. But, let me say greetings wherever you are, here in the garden of the mortals, the labyrinth of life itself, the ups and downs, the lefts, the rights, the pivots, the swerves, the blind alleys, the cul-de-sacs. There's a lot of cul-de-sacs, but never a dead end until you actively decide to tap out. Now, it's true. Life constantly comes at us, but so does the divine intervention. Every chop block of fate comes with a counterpunch, I believe, from the Supreme. So I guess you could say that life's labyrinth, right? We're throwing ourselves into the thick of things. Is the back and forth between the assault of fate and the retaliation, right? Calling in the troops, the retaliation of the divine. A chess match between your dynamic and the dark forces that pursue each and every one of us. Either way, it's your shot at running the table. That's what this life is, at leveling out only where and when you see fit. No permission needed from anybody. Only the vapid long for the committee vote. And you and I know that's not you. And when it comes to your ferociousness, it's in your blood. You can feel it. I know you can. Now you just have to get your mind to remember it and embrace it and give yourself permission to deploy it whenever you need. But that's why we're here, to be your amnesia buster, to be your Fenley Blue Force, the cognitive left of bang. Throw another military term at you. Always putting your heart's highest priority top of the list, where I think it belongs. Reinstalling and reinstating the true wit and wisdom and the wallop of your inner whisper. Rebooting your robust. Commencing your counterpunch all in time to out-brutal the brutal. That is the cut and shuffle that the fate can deal you on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold once and for all. I mean, all you got to do, what was the stock market was down like 1,000 points yesterday, up today, 1,100 points. There's a storm coming. It's up to you. You can decide to be jacked up or buttoned up, because the stunning beauty of it is that you make the call. It's up to you. It's always up to you. Before we hit it this evening, a quick hello to my friends here in the United States and Canada, Mexico, the UK, and my dear friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, and France, Nigeria, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Belgium, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Egypt, and Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands, Iran, Colombia, Greece, Ireland, Argentina, Peru, Austria, Poland. To those joining us from all over the globe, it truly is an honor. It is great to have you with us. And as I am every evening, I'm truly fired up this evening to be driving your bandwagon, to be your virtual hitchhiker if you're out and about and on the go. Because what I love about riding shotgun is getting to hang out with you. So what are we waiting for? A lot to talk about tonight. But ultimately what it all boils down to is here's your opportunity to mortal up. It's time to love the way you think. It's time to be your all-natural being. It's time for you to bring out your grit in the relentless grip of life. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. You know, I posted a little thing earlier about Colin O'Brady, who is the 30-some-odd-year-old young man who just successfully was the first person to cross Antarctica, coast to coast, totally self-contained, didn't use an umbrella, right, or a parasail to drag himself across. Totally human-powered, carried all of his own food, just no interaction, right, in terms of his locomotion. No, I think he had a cell phone he called in from time to time. I've been following him on his, on his social media pages, but no interaction in terms of what it takes to get from point A to point B, for the first human being ever. And in his last, I saw this here, his last push, if you haven't had a chance to go over and look at the article yet, his last push was 32 hours. He covered 70-some miles in the last 32 hours to make that. So why that's so attractive to me, why that just drives me, I'm just gripped by it, is that his DNA is no different than yours. Is he a little crazier? Perhaps. Is he a little better athlete? Perhaps. Is he a little more driven? Perhaps. Was he able to handle the solitude a wee bit better than you and I could? Perhaps. But there's nothing unique about his DNA that's different from your DNA. If he skis across Antarctica, what's in you? What world record is in you? You know, I'll put this up quickly so we'll talk about it just briefly, but 81 to win. We've got a lot going on, a lot of cool people jumping on now and getting involved. But let me say this. You know, I read this thing today and I thought, wait a minute. We're going to go for the world record, 81 to win. And here's a guy in 32 hours skis. I think it's at like 70-some miles for the simple ability to be the first person to ever, the first human being to ever do it. Now, I'm not saying that 81 to win, our Guinness World Record attempt at the longest call-in radio talk show, it's 81 hours. This guy's been doing it for weeks. But think about what it took to keep going for 32 hours. Facing all the wind, all the snow, all the this, all the that. He was definitely confronting his demons. So I just thought I would mention that this evening because to me, that's just the definition of inspirational. And that he was able to, congratulations, I should say to him, that he was able to do it and pull it off is really, truly something amazing. Which always makes me think, what could you do if you decided to go after, if you decided to be the best that you've ever been, what could you do? Oh, and thank you very much for the Mortal Up hat. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. The back of the hat is they put the little graphic of the human brain. The front of the hat, I almost forgot and took it off. Which reminds me, I was a little bit in error when I said last week that we would be doing tonight's show, the 389th episode. We'd be doing tonight's show staple, railroad track free. But that appointment is tomorrow. So tomorrow night's show the 390th, which our good friend Lee Rowley will be in the studio shortly after that show for Copy That Speaks. But tomorrow's show, the 390th show, they will have popped the staples. They will have cleared me to be as crazy as I always am. I can't wait. So that's why we're wearing the hat tonight, just to save everyone. You know, a couple of family members that have seen the pictures of all the staples have been like, whoa, I got to look away from that. So, but thank you very much for the Mortal Up hashtag. MORTALUP. It's absolutely thrilling to have it on, so thank you for that. All right, let's hop into threads, see what everyone's going on. Candace, good evening. Kathy, good evening. Henry, Merry Christmas to you as well. Button, click, button. Yeah, that's okay, Wayne. I'm tired. Hello. Oh, Kathy, yeah, button, click, button. Is that what you're saying you're working yourself through to return the text that I sent you 20 minutes ago, Wayne? Button, click, button. Yeah, just let me know. Henry, nice again. Nice to see you. Kathy, thank you so very much. Merry Christmas and a happy and wonderful new year to you as well. Matt, thank you so very much for your conversation today. Lee, good evening. Nice to see you, brother. Les, thank you so very much for joining us. Hope everything's going well. Nice to see you here at All Natural Being. Becky, thank you so very much for joining us. Is it Kyle, maybe, or Clee? Well, first person to Mars is still open. Just got to survive the ride. I absolutely agree with you. How fantastic would that be? Watch out, world. Here, BB comes. Candace, thank you so very much. So that was the thing that grabbed my eye today, was that, as they say, you know, you can still get to Mars if you can enjoy the trip. Well, I imagine O'Brady was like, well, I can still get this record if I can go for how many weeks or months, you know, in Antarctica, skiing all the way across it. So God love him. So my question becomes, what's in you? What do you have that you can do if you just set your mind to it? Because, yes, he might be better trained. As I said, he might be a little more, you know, off the wall. He might some of these other things. But there's another guy, I think, what is his name? Rudd, if anyone knows, if you could throw it up here in the post. I think his name's Rudd. There's another guy who's a couple days behind him. But here's someone else that's getting ready to make. Answered text 15 minutes ago. Was just mocking the story. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Wayne, very much. Merry Christmas. How long did it take him again? That's a great question. Did I see it was like a couple of months? I think he started before or maybe he started on Thanksgiving. So let me see, Candace, real quick, if because I put it over here in the post. Let me see. All right, you did mention that, Wayne. Thank you very much. All right, let me see here. Candace, I go over here. It may have been weeks that he was responsible for pulling that all off. I don't. Let me see here. So the thing is, I think it was Thanksgiving that he started out. Well, hello, sir. How are you? I'm very good, thank you. Would you like to say hello? You'd like to say hello? Excellent use of your manners. Why don't we make that happen? Okay, come here, bud. You ready? Set. And what else you want to say? You say hello.
Hello.
Oh, careful. Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Look right straight ahead. Look right straight up there. Say, thank you for watching All Natural Being.
Thank you for watching All Natural Being.
Okay, say, I'm going to head out now.
I'm going to head out.
All right, you can say, how about you sit over there on the guest couch? All right, you go over here and sit on the guest couch. There you go. All right, so the point that I was trying to make through all of it, and I got a little bit of a distraction there. The point I was trying to make through all of it is that it was superhuman in terms of what he was able to do in that time frame. So let me see. What did we say? Hi, buddy. Thank you very much. He loves it. You know what I mean? He says to me, oh, I can hear when you're getting ready to launch the show. And so he likes to come down and executive produce whenever he can. Wayne, I see that you answered the text. Thank you very much. All right, so back to the train of thought that I was having. What is it that you could do? That if you challenged yourself, what are the records? Now, it may not be a world record. You may not do this or do that. Okay, Wayne, thank you very much. It may not be this or be that, but what else could it be? What could you do if you were going to go after a record? What would it be? And it could very well be something personal. Transitional Radio says, hi, Blyden. Yeah, his mom's already swooped down. You know, it's funny because as this first started, he'd saunter down. He'd make his way, check some things here in the studio, come through. And now he knows that it's just a matter of time, right? That his jailbreak is going to be discovered as soon as he comes on camera. So he sprints to get here. And then I'm just busy. And all of a sudden I feel, sometimes I can see him coming, but other times I'll look away. And next thing I know, I turn around, and there's a little body that's like, whoa. Jump back a little bit. But he knows his days are short-lived when he's on camera, because then his mom knows. And, the jig is up at that point. Also, I want to make mention, thanks to Matt Connerton for the conversation earlier in the day. I appreciate it very much. So I've come up with some new characters called John and Jan Cellophane. I think it was what we'll build on from there, Matt. But John and Jane Cellophane is my, my couple, Muskrat Sally and Sally and I forget what it was, but in any event, Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan are the people that are easily offended, easily triggered, easily outraged, easily everything. So we're going to be building on those characters for the future, because you can't open a newspaper, a magazine, you can't turn on anything in terms of the internet or social media without someone. Thank you, Kathy. I will let him know. Yes, he's very cute. You can't turn on anything without someone being outraged or injured or triggered, or they need a safe space, they are offended, or this or that. So we'll be doing a series coming up here very shortly for John and Jan Cellophane, where they basically have balsa wood spines and everything gets through to them. Everything. Mustang Sally. Yeah, what was no, not that one, but what was the muskrat one? What were the two muskrats? The two muskrats that fall in love. One was, I can't remember, but the mind. What are you going to do? But in any event, Matt, thank you very much for that. So we'll be talking, as I said, in the future, Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan, and all the things that they do to allow themselves to be triggered. Because how horrible must it be to go through life, right, and let the words of another person derail your day, to hijack your mind? It's like letting them in. Letting them in through your front door. You're there, there's a knock on the door. You open up the door, and it's some guy, some girl, standing there with a couple cans of spray paint. And they go, hey, if you don't mind, I got spray paint here somewhere. If you don't mind, could you let us in? We'd like to spray paint some graffiti over your fireplace. Or we'd like to leave some gang symbols in spray paint on your white couch. Maybe, on the ceiling if we can. No, you wouldn't let them in to spray paint graffiti all over your house, but we'll let people in. What must it be like? What must it be like to have a mind that lets people in to spray paint graffiti on the insides? So, Matt, I thank you again. Captain and Tennille, Muskrat Love. I know, but do you remember, Henry, what were the names? Was it Sammy and Sue? Muskrat Sammy and Muskrat Sue? I can't remember. But in any event, Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan are going to be, we'll do our little skits that basically just talk about people that they're just offended by everything, no matter what you do. I was talking to my brother before. I said, you have to watch out, saying rule of thumb. There was another one. Well, you know what, Matt, if you could tell me, what was that other one about binge? Well, I say binge thinking all the time, so that's got to be absolutely ripe for retaliation from all the political correct crews, to say binge thinking. And people go, oh, well, that's just horrible. How about people that have the disease, that makes them overeat? Well, yeah, that's why I use the term binge thinking, because it's people that overthink. It's exactly the same thing. But Matt was telling me Muskrat Susie and Muskrat Sam. Thank you, Henry. Finally, circling around, bringing some clarity to this conversation. Muskrat Susie and Muskrat Sam, right? So this is Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan, and the travails of what it must be to go through like a lit candle. There, every time the wind blows, you're going to be, oh, someone almost blew out my flame. That was close, right? Where everything that another person says, you're offended, you're triggered, you're mortified, you're outraged, you're derailed, all these other things. It's gotten to the point where you just feel so bad for these folks that you go, how did that happen? What specifically happened to allow a human mind to be that perforated? That allowed a human, we've talked about it before. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Well, what happened? Yes, of course I will. There we go. Thank you very much. Appreciate the share. A little prayer bowl. What has happened to people whose sense of self is so compromised that the words of another can ruin their sense of self? And we got a big announcement tomorrow, one of the new programs that we'll be doing in addition to Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan, one of the new programs that's going to address just this. And I want to launch that idea tomorrow. I've talked to a couple of people about it. I like the offended folks, easy to troll. Well, you know what I've said before is that only the offendable are offended. Like I had my campaign, as I said, that, I had to boycott McDonald's because I thought they were slamming Mix. It was an obvious affront to Irish people. McDonald's. Every time I say the Golden Arches, I'm triggered. I need a safe space. I need a cuddly doll and like a cuddly bear and maybe some warm cocoa, something like that. Wayne says indoctrination happened. Absolutely, Wayne. Which is why I think I stand out as much as I can against political correctness. Because here's the thing. We can be outraged, we can be offended, we can be triggered, blah, 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 right? And then there's us that can just sit around and talk about it. But this is our future. And that's why I love the fact that Henry was like, time to pop smoke, I'm out of here. I'm moving to Ecuador. But for the rest of us, you've got some of these politicians running around that go, oh, let's do this or let's do that or let's have this and that. Well, 20 years from now, I think our country's going to be a totally different place to live. I really do. So I think philosophically, mortal up is a great idea because who knows what the storm coming is going to bring? Who knows what's going to be released? When everyone thinks, yeah, we don't need. What was the one, all kinds of younger people now that are saying, oh, yeah, well, you're guilty until proven innocent. Or just read about what's going on in China, what's going on in Venezuela, what's going on in certain parts of Mexico, what's going on in Russia, where the governments are moving in and doing everything that they can to squelch free speech. Just look everywhere. Look at Saudi Arabia. Just look around the world and people go, oh, it never happened here. Well, it most certainly could happen here. So mortal up, it's not a political philosophy. It's just a philosophy about you being able to handle whatever it is that pops up in the moment. I find they seek attention and they believe being a bigger victim is a good thing. I absolutely agree with that. And I think that this whole concept of victim, the louder they scream, the more they're waiting for people to go, oh, here's a hanky. Please use this. Right? I think you're absolutely right. I think in seeking that attention, they think the more they cry, the more they whine, the more they're triggered, the more they're outraged, the more they're offended, the more people are going to come and try to comfort them. But then we end up with entire generations of people are waiting to be comforted because of, right, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So I got off on this rant, but, Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan will be dealing with that. And I bet if our characters had anything at all, I think Kyle is absolutely right. I bet you they would seek attention. Being a bigger victim. Everything is a victimization. One of the things that I got into over the week, I called it 6 degrees of victimization. Well, someone I'm really close to whose grandparents knew the postman who brought a letter about a person that was here. And I'm going, and you're offended by that. Yeah, well, that's... and of course, this math wizard emails back to say, oh, well, no, it's actually only 3 degrees. What are you going to do? So in any event, Kathy says, I hope not. My children are raising their children right. Well, good for you, Kathy. I hope everyone is. My children are raising their children right. It's what's got me involved in this world. My grandbabies would be raised in. I absolutely agree with you, Kathy. And, I was talking to Henry about this not too long ago, that it'd be easy. No, it made sense, Kathy. I absolutely get you. It would be easy if we go, yeah, what do we care? Our age, we're half gone. 3/4 may be gone, whatever it is. But if you have kids or you have grandkids or you have friends that have kids or grandkids, that's what we're turning our future over to. And we have to do everything that we can, I think. And even if it's just standing and calling attention to it and going, really? That's what you're going to be offended by? All right, so you get where I'm going. No more thin skin. Most certainly no more hotheads wrapped in thin skin. That's what we'll be talking about when we do the Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan. All right, so this evening, thank you for everyone that sent me the comments and sent me the tweets about what I called the 23rd Balm. I super appreciate that. That was just my little attempt at a gift yesterday for Christmas for those people that were on social media. And, it was there weren't a lot of people out and about yesterday, thankfully. You turn away from social media, you're out and enjoying your life and this and that. But the 23rd Balm and why that's always been so important to me, because I believe in that sense of, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil. Right? For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff to comfort me. The good and the bad we take comfort from. So thank you very much for that. It was absolutely my pleasure. Okay, so now I wanted to make mention of the fact that as we get ready to count down the new year, we're going to be back tomorrow night. We'll do, what did I say it was going to be? Episode 390. And then tomorrow night we will do Copy That Speaks with Mr. Lee Rowley and the good folks from Sales Copy Academy, the official time sponsors here at the show. And it just dawned on me, Wayne. I think Henry and the production team at Thinking Re-envisioned, I think they're traveling this evening, if that's right, Henry. So Henry isn't going to be on at the bottom of the hour. So Wayne's probably like, oh yeah, you watch. Brian will hit his call time perfectly now that there's nothing to toss it to. Well, yes, I think I will. Candace says, I ran into such mean people shopping for Christmas. I'm thinking, wow, is this your mission? You know what's funny, Candace? And I don't want to take an opposite position because I too ran into the same thing. But here's a little bit of hope, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I was out and about running around the day, I don't know, looking for training wheels to put on a bicycle or something like that. But I was out and about and going, okay, great. And, because until tomorrow I'm busy being chauffeured around. So, maybe I'm a little more aware of what's going on. But on 3 different places, I watch people hold the door for other people. Now, in doing so, Wayne says not watching the clock tonight. Gotcha, brother. In doing so, they gave up their position in line at the deli or fast food or Chipotle, whatever it was. I watched 3 different people in the space of an hour open the door for other people, knowing that by letting those people go first, they would bump themselves in line. And yes, Candace, I agree. There's some really mean people out and about running around. I mean, just be on the highways, right? You can see the people. You're doing 80 in a 75, and they're giving you a dirty look because they want to do 90. I get it. Henry says, I am traveling the Ecuadorian coast through January 3rd. Oh, very cool. All right. Thank you for the update. Matt, good evening again. If you're still here or not here, thank you for joining us. As always, I was just mentioning Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan, I think are going to be our new guests here on the show. And I was responding back to Candace, who says there's just so many mean people. I know, man, you see them everywhere. But today, 3 people holding the door for other people. And in doing so, it's not like they'll hold the door to get into a grocery store and like they're going to be there for an hour and a half. This was holding the door to get in the line, and you knew that you were letting the person order their food before you got your food, ordering your drink, ordering your deli order before you got yours. So I was really moved by that, and I thought, great. I happen to catch 3 just because I'm busy, like a bobblehead moving around while I'm in the passenger seat, but 3 people in the space of like an hour. And I thought that was really cool. And it reminded me, so I get ready to wrap it up, the one experience I had of a young lady snapping at me and saying, excuse me, sir, I can get my own door. I don't need you doing it for me. I'd step back and open the door and please. And she goes, oh, excuse me, sir, I can get my own door. And I'm pretty sure she said, I don't need, and I don't know how she completed the sentence because I stepped right in front of her, shut the door right in her face. Right? So maybe that's why that sticks out of my mind. All right, don't honk at me. I'll let 20 more cars in. What I love about you, Candace. Don't. Excuse me. That's what I love about you, Candace. Oh, yeah, and we'll talk about tomorrow night. I contracted some type of whooping cough or whatever after the last surgery. So we'll fill Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan. Matt, we were talking about it. Henry reminded me of Muskrat Sally and Muskrat Sam. You know, the old conversation? Well, this is going to be Cellophane John and Cellophane Jan. All right, we're going to get out of here, if for no other reason than to prove to Wayne I really can hit a call time. Thank you so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being, and we will see you tomorrow night. Have an absolutely fantastic evening.
IPMNation.com.